The meeting will please come to order. Hello, everyone. Today is Thursday, January the 19th. I am Trippy Congo, President of Wilmington City Council. And on behalf of all of my colleagues, I would like to thank everyone who has joined us here in Council Chambers and those who have joined us virtually. Just as a reminder for public comment, there is a Google Form sign-up link in the chat for anyone who would like to speak. Public comment will take place after non-legislative business. We're going to have opening prayer by Akira Granado.
Heavenly Father, we have assembled to handle the affairs of our city. As we do so, we ask for your guidance and understanding. We pray that our city reaches a place of peace and safety. Keep us out of harm's way and bless those who are in authority. Let respect be key in all our endeavors. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. At this time, we will recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilwoman Darby. Councilwoman Oliver.
Present.
Councilwoman Harley. Councilwoman Fields.
Present.
Councilwoman McCoy.
Here.
Councilman Johnson.
Here.
Councilman Field.
Present.
Councilwoman Cabrera.
Here.
Councilman Mills.
Present.
Councilman Spadola.
Present.
Councilwoman Bracy.
Present.
President Congo.
Here.
10 present and 2 absent.
Thank you. And council members Darby and Harley did ask to be excused. This time we'll have the reading of the minutes of the previous meeting.
January 5th, 2023, City Council met on regular session with remote participation on the above date at 6:30 p.m. President Ernest M. Congo II presiding. The opening prayer was done by Kara Granardo, Deputy City Clerk.
Mr. President, I move the minutes be accepted as written.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that the minutes be received, recorded, filed. I'm sorry, be accepted as written. On the question? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. This time we'll have our committee reports.
January 9th, 2023, President, members of Council, City of Wilmington, ladies and gentlemen, we, your Finance and Economic Development Committee, met by anchor location remote participation, to whom was referred ordinance number 23001 entitled, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of the city's general obligation bond, prices run interceptor rehabilitation project series of 2023 WPCRF, in order to provide the funds necessary for the City of Wilmington's prices run interceptor rehabilitation project, providing for the sale of the 2023 bond to the Delaware Water Pollution Control Revolving Fund, and authorizing other necessary action. Have given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted those members present: Councilman Johnson, Councilman Field, Councilwoman Oliver, President Congo. Absent with leave, Councilwoman Harley, and Councilman Spadola.
Mr. President, I move the committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that the report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
January 9th, 2023, we, your Finance and Economic Development Committee, met by anchor location and remote participation to was referred ordinance number 23002 entitled, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of the city general obligation bond, 11th Street Pump Station Phase 2 project, series of 2023, WPCRF, in order to provide the funds necessary for the replacement of and certain upgrades to 11th Street Pump Station, providing for the sale of the 2023 bond to the Delaware Water Pollution Control Revolving Fund, and authorizing other necessary action. Have given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted those members present: Councilman Johnson, Councilman Field, Councilwoman Oliver, President Congo. Absent with leave, Councilwoman Harley, and Councilman Spadola.
Mr. President, I move the committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that the report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
January 9th, 2023, we, your Finance and Economic Development Committee, met by anchor location and remote participation to was referred Ordinance number 23003 entitled, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of the city's general obligation bond, digester rehabilitation phase 2 project, series of 2023 WPCRF, in order to provide the funds necessary for the city of Wilmington's rehabilitation of digesters number 5 at the Wilmington wastewater treatment plant, providing for the sale of the 2023 bond to the Delaware Water Pollution Control Revolving Fund, and authorizing other necessary action. I've given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted. Those members present: Councilman Johnson, Councilman Field, Councilwoman Oliver, President Congo, absent with leave, Councilwoman Harley, and Councilman Spadola.
At this time, I move for the committee report to be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
January 9th, 2023, we, your Finance and Economic Development Committee, met by anchor location and remote participation to was referred ordinance number 23004 entitled, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of the city's general obligation bond, variation process phases 1 and 2 projects, series of 2023, WPCRF, in order to provide the funds necessary for the city of Wilmington's aeration process upgrades, phases 1 and 2 at the Wilmington wastewater treatment plant, providing for the sale of the 2023 bond to the Delaware Water Pollution Control Revolving Fund, and authorizing other necessary action. I've given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted. Those members present: Councilman Johnson, Councilman Field, Councilwoman Oliver, President Congo, absent with leave, Councilwoman Harley, and Councilman Spadola.
At this time, I move for the committee report to be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
January 9th, 2023, where your Finance and Economic Development Committee met by anchor location and remote participation to was referred ordinance number 23005 entitled, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of the city's general obligation bond dewatering process rehabilitation project, series of 2023 WPCRF, in order to provide the funds necessary for the city of Wilmington's process rehabilitation project at the Wilmington wastewater treatment plant, providing for the sale of the 2023 bond to the Delaware Water Pollution Control Revolving Fund, and authorizing other necessary action. I've given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted. Those members present: Councilman Johnson, Councilman Field, Councilwoman Oliver, President Congo, absent with leave, Councilwoman Harley, and Councilman Spadola.
At this time, I move for the committee report to be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded the report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. This time we'll have our city treasurer's report.
January 19, 2023. Total investment, $489,347,757.21. Total cash on hand, $18,225,831.31. Grand total, $507,573,588.52. Submitted by Dwayne Sims, City Treasurer.
Mr. President, I move the treasurer's report be received, recorded, and filed. Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. This time I'll accept the motion to accept all non-legislative business.
So moved. Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to accept all non-legislative business. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Councilmember Oliver, you have the floor for your presentation for the evening. Howard High School, if there is anyone who would like to come forward to the podium, you may do so. Please come up from my left to your right. Anyone from Howard High who's going to be recognized?
We'd like to have all Howard High and anyone here that's here supporting Howard High, please come up, especially Mr. Stan Hill. So we had to hear anybody in the audience that's supporting Howard High, feel free to come up to the audience. Right up here. Oh, goodness. This is their 50th anniversary, Howard High, class of 1973. Class of 1973, wow. Come up here, Mr.
Don't be scared. All gathered around there so you can be in the,
Probably proud, can y'all come, you two come up here?
you can all get behind Miss Councilwoman
Yeah.
Oliver.
Over here. No, you okay right there. You two. Y'all two can stand over here. That's good. Class of 1973. The white you was not at Howard. No.
Also, while everyone is gathering, if you have one designated member to speak on behalf of the group, please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, this is, this, 1 second. Howard High, excuse me, y'all. Okay. This is Howard High's 50th anniversary, class of 1973. The sponsor is Councilwoman Xanthia Oliver, whereas it's the Census City Council that are individuals and organizations who have demonstrated outstanding achievement and are deserving of recognition and acknowledgments. Council member Xanthia Oliver would like to acknowledge the members of 1973 Howard High School Wildcat Championship basketball team. And whereas in 1973, Wildcats were the first undefeated state boys basketball championship, they ranked amongst Delaware's online greatest 100 sports team in the first state history. And whereas the Wildcats proudly represented Howard High, now known as Howard School of Technology, which was the first secondary school for black students in Delaware. With Howard High coach James J. Thomas, assistant coach was Stan Hill, Donald Heyman, amongst the leadership of the team, captains Mike Miller, David Rome, and Howard team won all 24 of their games for the season by achieving a margin of 20 points. Wow. Rome, oh my goodness, I didn't know that. And whereas in 1973, they won both the Blue Hen Conference and the prestigious Kwanzaa National Christmas Tournament in Chester, PA. In addition, the Wildcats players, Kenneth Henson and Mike Miller, were selected first and second team All-State. Wow. Whereas the members of this legendary team have gone on to be leaders in the public and private sectors, they have made major contributions to supporting the next generation of youth in the city throughout the state. Now there be it resolved by the Council of City of Wilmington that the legislative body would like to recognize an accomplished Howard High team Wildcats basketball team on their 50th anniversary and state championship when celebrating the pride of their legend has brought to great City of Wilmington. Who would like to speak? Stan Hill.
On behalf of the team and Jay Thomas, who's not with us, we'd like to thank you for honoring us with this evening as far as is concerned. And at the time, we represented not only Howard, but the city of Wilmington and the state of Delaware and all that we did, whether we was playing in the state or out of the state as far as it was concerned. So on behalf of the rest of the people that are here, we wish to thank you for this honor and this opportunity to stand before you and that you can acknowledge what we did 50 years ago.
Honorable Congo and honorable members of City Council, especially Honorable Xanthia Oliver, we thank you so much for this recognition. We also would like to thank a person who has been an ambassador for historical initiatives in the city of Wilmington, who thought it not robbery to recognize and always keep the significance of the 24-0 Howard High School class of 1973 championship in the forefront of all of those who know anything about basketball in the city of Wilmington, and that is Mr. Mark Seals. We'd like to thank Mr. Mark Seals for all that he does. As I sit and think, 50 years, I remember one of my former pastors, Reverend Hilton, he says, it's good to be here. And he says, when you get our age, it's good to be anywhere. And so it's truly to be here in this historic venue because when I was out in the hallway, Councilman Congo, I recognized that this building is named after one of Howard High's greatest alumnus, Mr. Lewis Redding, who fought for equal justice and equality for around the city. And when I think about this institution of Howard High School, it is a landmark institution, and to have attended Howard High School is an honor and a privilege. And for us to stand here 50 years later in the class of 1973, it brings us great joy. And I thought about 50 years ago, and I think about how times have changed in our city and our society. And I just encourage you, the council, because you are challenged with so many more complex issues as it relates to violence in our city. And so we want to make sure that you stay together and make sure you come up with solutions to get this Wilmington city, the city that we know that how Wilmington is, and the milestone and the institution that Howard High School is. And so on behalf of all of my colleagues, I wasn't a player, I was a manager. I didn't score any points, but I did get a technical foul up in Philadelphia. You remember that, right? But we just want to thank you for all that you have done, and we will be eternally grateful for this recognition and honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's give a round of applause
And
for
while
the
they're-
class of 1973.
While they are returning to their seats, I would also like to recognize a few other resolutions from council, from Councilmember Darby, a recognition for Teresa Webster, who turned 100, from Councilmember McCoy, a resolution recognizing the opening of the MSK Community Center, and from Councilmember Oliver, she would like to recognize the Wilmington United Lions Club. And sympathy resolutions coming from Councilmember Johnson, sympathy for Alice Donnelly Soldier. This time we are going to move to public comment. Again, as a friendly reminder, for public comment, there is a Google Form sign-up link in the chat for anyone who would like to speak. Your time limit is 3 minutes. Please keep your comments relevant to the items on the agenda, and please only address me as the president. Please do not address any council members directly. Deacon Earl Tate.
Like to wish you all a happy new year as we begin the new year off, and I like to thank Councilman Oliver for what she had over in her area. Put the guns down, because we got to stand up, and we got to make this thing a thing that will last, because we have our kids looking at us. Our kids look at us and copy us. So that means that we got to make a good role model for them to follow. We got to teach them how to respect themselves as well as others. And we got to teach them how to carry themselves as well as others. And the best way to do that is by us setting an example for our young people today. Because if we don't, who will? And that's why I say, hey, you got to take the stand. And before I finish, I like to read a poem that I wrote 20 years ago. 20 years ago, and that poem suits today. It's titled Guns. Bang, bang, they shot them down. Bang, bang, they hit the ground. Bang, bang, they shot them right on down. As we walk the streets down and around the corner, we hear the gun shooting and see the people fleeing because someone have been shot down. Wow. What a thing to hear and see. Why? Why do things have to happen this way? When I was growing up, we sit down and we talk things out, or we handle it with our fist fight instead. We handle it with our fist fight instead. And our friends was here to see another day, to laugh, to make jokes, to have another, to talk about things with us. Respect for life. For others, for ourselves is what's missing. Parents, sit down, your sons and daughters, and have a conversation with them about guns, because before it is too late, then tell them you love them very much. Give them a hug before bang bang a bullet does and they go down and they are gone. Bang bang, they was shot down. Bang bang, they hit the ground. Bang bang, they shot them right on down.
Thank you.
Remember, we got to set an example for ourselves and the kids. Because if we don't, our kids won't be here.
Amen.
Thank you. Dwight Davis. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Mr. President, good evening, members of council. My name is Brother Dwight L. Davis, and my primary reason for being here is to thank you, this council, for honoring me with being placed on the Wilmington City Council's Reparation Committee. I'm joined by my colleague and neighbor, Mr. J.C. Kent of Kent Inner City Renovations of the 800 block of West 9th Street, and his first major project is the Model Cities Motivational Center, the school that sent me off to Delaware State in 1969 after the riots, and that we are working towards developing crime out of our neighborhood. I stood with the 50-year honorees of Howard High School of 73 because I also was a basketball player at Howard High in 1969. I was the first man off the bench on the third string. And that's factual. I took great pride in being a graduate of Howard High, and then I went on to become a graduate of Delaware State College, which is now Delaware State University. I've done considerable study in the area of reparations, and it is my humble opinion that Wilmington, Delaware has the opportunity to be first in putting forth the best model for reparations for the nation using primary sources. On my Facebook, my colleagues have been a part of ANDA, the African National Day of Assembly, Reparations and Freedom Coalition for the last several years, and I'm very honored to be able to put forth my energies working with this council and working with this commission to put forth this work. And so it is such an important work that we think of it as just being about money, getting money.
You have 20 seconds.
But the most important thing is education. Education and equity. So I thank you very much, my council person, Ms. Harley, and you, the president, Mr. Trippy Congo. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You see, I'm getting old. Sure.
D. Marquis Hall.
Okay. Thank you guys for inviting me, for having me here. I want to say first, it doesn't take heart to kill anybody. It takes a lack of heart to kill somebody. It takes a lack of heart to put your finger on the trigger to write legislation that penalizes the poor, to allow somebody to sit in prison for as long as those men have been graduates. I want to say the name Emmanuel Redding, Soko, Junie. That's the name that they knew him by. I wish that they were still here, but I didn't want to grab them and say, y'all got to wait here. Y'all got to listen to what I got to say real quick. But this man didn't kill anybody, and he's been locked up since the 70s. Emmanuel Redding was involved in a shooting. Bang, bang, don't shoot. He had a gun. The man that he shot was shot in the leg. This man forgave Emmanuel Redding, but the state of Delaware hasn't forgiven him. The state of Delaware locks up so many people, a lot of black men like Emmanuel Redding, that they outsource prisoners to other states. New Jersey, Maryland, Pennsylvania. Emmanuel Redding sits in Trenton and New Jersey State Penitentiary. Now, the reason why I'm here today is because yesterday his daughter got married here in this building and thought that her dad was going to be there because a state official promised this family that he was going to be getting out of jail on the 14th of January, which was Saturday. He's still not home. It doesn't take heart to kill somebody. It takes a lack of heart. The same nitroglycerin that they give Emmanuel Redding to keep him alive this state needs, because I don't see heart, a defibrillator is needed. This state, to tell the family after he's already served almost 50 years, 46 years he's been locked down, that he's going to get out of jail.
You have 20 seconds.
On the 14th of January, after they already said that his parole hearing was moved because it was election day and he's coming home, so you don't have to worry. So they're quiet about it. Representative Xanthia Oliver wrote a letter for Sheikh Ali, for Emmanuel Redding. I would like for all of council to write letters for this man who has served 2 life sentences and hasn't killed anyone. As I said previously, it doesn't take heart to kill somebody. And he's being executed, and that's unconstitutional here in this state. He's a Wilmingtonian. He graduated from PS, not Howard, but he graduated when those guys
Your
graduated.
time is up, sir.
And he's still locked up. Do something, please. Help.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Oliver.
Thank you. Anthony Davis.
First of all, I want to say thank you to this body of overseers.
Make sure you speak into the mic, Mr. Davis, please. Thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity to come before you and share a little bit of my story. First, I want to say that the reason that I'm here is that I'm not only interested in my own children, but the children that come after me. I'm a father of 9 children, and my last 4 are in school. But I prepared something so that I can just kind of read through this, so bear with me. My primary concern is Urban Promise's arbitrary and capricious expulsion, forced withdrawal of my son Joshua Davis, and all those that come after him. My son was left unsupervised in a common area in the school, and when an altercation took place, the school's position was to expel my son Joshua. When I questioned them, they referred to a policy of zero tolerance. I rejected the reason because it was never made known to the student body or parents. I requested an appeal because there was no paperwork or policy in place, but there was no paperwork or policy in place for an appeal. An appeal was set, though, and with a 3-person panel. Before my appeal, I received documentation which dropped the zero tolerance claim and inserted new terminology: bullying, hate, bias, and violence. At this appeal, the 3-person panel was chaired by the same person who had ruled against me in the first place. They disregarded all statements that noted or pointed to contributory actions by staff and students. A committee of 3 people, which one person had already ruled against us, council denied my appeal. When I requested to appeal to the board of directors, that request was denied. A committee that already had been swayed knowingly or unknowingly concerning my case decided this. The board, I received a letter from the board which said that the board was in agreement with what the council had presented without even hearing our case. I need some help finding out why this board of directors continues to sit by and allow the current and past leadership of Urban Promise to disproportionately and excessively discipline in measures that are not only antithetical to student handbook and the core values of Urban Promise and this community. Not only do these heavy-handed type policies violate biblical tenets, but they are fostered by a colonistic view of a community in need.
We have 20 seconds.
Understand this: these policies can be considered as discriminatory in nature and view. As Joshua's father, I'm requesting that you join me in fighting this injustice for my son and others that will come after him. they should be afforded an opportunity to be educated in the place of their choice. Thank you.
Thank you. And staff does have the contact numbers for all of our public speakers this evening in case any council members would like to reach out to them. Virtually, we have Amy Solomon. Are you still with us?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Hello, yes. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. And I had a couple of things I'd like to say that are on your agenda or pertaining to things you might discuss tonight. I'd like to come out in support of the resolution concerning school choice and kind of trying to target, I think, a start for a strategy to improve choice as far as equity and distribution. And I wasn't aware really that there was an education committee within the city council. And when I found that out, I did come and presented on enrollment and choice. And then Councilman Mills did attend a meeting with the Red Clay data team to talk about the numbers and how choice is really shaking out among the applicants. And for example, within the Red Clay district, 0 students out of district were choiced into North Star. And there's definitely something, it's a postcode lottery, and it's a weighted system that can have up to 6 categories within that lottery. And some kids will just never have a chance to maybe take advantage of opportunities like a dance team that they'd like to go to, different offerings if it's out of district. So I think the resolution is just a start to try to work on getting some equity within our system. I think school choice is already a great tool. A lot of families use it. I think the majority really appreciate that it's there for them, and just improving the equity on that and coming out as the city council together and engaging in that issue, I think would be a great achievement. And I appreciate Councilman Mills bringing that resolution forward. And if I have any time left, I'd like to mention there is a grant through the Lieutenant Governor's office from the Opioid Commission, and they're gonna have a second round coming in 30 to 60 days. And Susan Holloway is the person that owns that process. But this second round is gonna be giving away to people working on, the opioid epidemic, 12 million. And it's a very quick cycle. The first cycle just closed, and they're distributing 3 million with a maximum $100,000 grant. And thank you. That's substantial money. So I encourage all nonprofits to look into that and see if that's work that you could do or qualify for. And a second round will be coming very soon because they're trying to get that money on the street, helping for that problem. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you. And I do apologize. I did miss another speaker that is in council chambers, Kevin Malloy. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Mr. President. I had signed up for public comment the last session via Zoom, but I was having audible problems, so I couldn't speak. So here I am tonight. I wanted to thank Councilperson Field and all the others that had contributed on the lighting of Rockford Tower and Rockford Park, and the lights down at the riverfront, which were just outstanding this year, and all the lights that get put up in my neighborhood in Cool Spring. The residents string the party lights, and they still keep them up. My subject tonight is about the lights of 95 bridges. It's very concerning. 60 years ago, the federal government came in and railroaded I-95 through the heart of our city. In 2018, there started to be this project called DelDOT 2021, and they had a very fancy restore the corridor. They had one public meeting that I was attending, and others attended down at the riverfront, which there was really not a real outreach to the community along the corridor. It was more the commuters along I-95. Even the advertising was big sandwich boards or whatever, the electronic boards on 95 to tell the commuters there's going to be this big, change and restoration of the corridor. Well, at the same time we started this group called United Neighbors. We painted the bridges, volunteered, got some money, but it was mostly volunteers that painted the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th Street bridges. Any of the meetings that we had Del.Dot come and they'd all be, oh, this looks so great. These bridges are so beautiful. And we'd say, well, we need the lights. We need the lights on the bridges for the pedestrians. We need the lights. Oh, yeah, sure. And even we put that on our profile picture on the Facebook group called Vision of our I-95 Community Group. That's the profile picture. It's an animated picture of the lights on the bridges that'll be there when the Del.Dot 2021 project is finished. Well, just like the federal government when they came in and ripped through the city, railroaded, had no public input probably, and now with Del.Dot 2021, I think it's pretty much a farce that there was real public input because there are no lights on the bridges. They finished the project early, but you know what? Those 2 years that we had to withstand the excessive traffic on North Jackson Street and North Adams Street, we got nothing. We didn't get lights on the bridges. We got fancy new wrought iron fences, which is for the 95 commuters, by the way. This is a tragedy that I think that we need to address. The city of Wilmington needs to connect with Del.Dot and say, look, we, the pedestrians of our city, need better safety and the lights. Lights make a difference. That's all I really wanted to talk about tonight. If there's anyone that can help with this, I'm going to definitely have a rally, start a petition, whatever it is, as a citizen. But I think and I hope that the city council steps up, any of you or all of you, and the mayor's office, and takes a look at this problem. Just go there right now. Try to walk across one of those bridges that have those beautiful murals, no lights, nothing. So it's a farce that we were told that they were going to be put up, and now guess what? It's done. The train's already left the station. Del.Dot's finished. No more signage. Nothing's happening. So thanks so much for listening, and I hope you can be as passionate about this subject as I am. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. WITN, do we have anyone else virtually? Okay, thank you. At this time, we will move to legislative business. And as usual, we will dispense from calling each council member's name for legislative business. And just a public note for council members, this is just a friendly reminder that pursuant to council rules for legislative matters, the sponsor is entitled to speak first and last. And during debate, each council member may speak twice for up to 5 minutes each time. Councilmember Oliver.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have an ordinance to present and call for the first and second reading.
Ordinance 23006, Agenda 0268, an ordinance to authorize and approve the First Amendment to Contract 23008 WDPS, Water Division Building, Raceway, and Facilities Management and Maintenance Services between the City of Wilmington and Merritt Construction Engineers, Inc.
First reading of the ordinance.
An ordinance to authorize and approve the First Amendment to Contract 23008 WDPS, Water Division Building, Raceway, and Facilities Management and Maintenance Services between the City of Wilmington and Merritt Construction Engineers, Inc.
Second reading of the ordinance.
Mr. President, I move this be known for the first and second reading of the ordinance and refer to the Public Works Committee, the Public Works and Transportation Committee.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and refer to the Public Works and Transportation Committee.
Mr. President, I have a resolution to present.
Resolution 23005, Agenda 0269, whereas pursuant to Section 2-363 of the City Code, the council deem it necessary and proper to specify the requirements for review and approval of city-sponsored grant applications and proposals, including authorization for expedited grant applications when necessary prior to council's approval by resolution. And whereas on September 28th, 2022,
I move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed, and adopted by yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that the resolution be received, recorded, and filed and adopted by yea and nay vote. On the question?
Yes, this resolution authorized the Department of Public Works grant application to the state Department of Natural Resources, Environment Control, funds pursued for the 2022 project planning, advances for the waterway surface water drinking water project grant project in amount of $100,000. The department application is to clean a water state revolving fund for green infrastructure improvements to the Adams Street area to reduce water population in area. There is no matching funds required.
Seeing no hands raised from council members, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field, Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Mills,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes.
10 yeas and 2 absent.
Declared adopted.
That would be all, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Bracy.
Mr. President, I have a resolution to present on your behalf.
Resolution 23006, Agenda 0270, whereas City Council recognizes the fundamental and critical role of promoting human rights and addressing discrimination at the local level. And whereas the City Council's task force to study and develop reparation proposals for African Americans with a special consideration for African Americans who are descendants of persons enslaved in the United States was established by Resolution Number 20080 as amended.
I move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed, and adopted by a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that the resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by a yea or nay vote on the question.
Mr. President, this resolution is being presented by City Council for Council's review and approval. This resolution amends Resolution 22-078 to appoint 2 additional members to the City Council Reparations Task Force to study and develop reparation proposals for African Americans. Those persons are Councilmember Al Mills and Mr. Dwight L. Davis.
And seeing no hands raised from council, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field, Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Mills,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy,
Yes.
and President Congo.
Yes.
10 yeas and 2 absent.
Declared adopted. Councilmember McCoy.
Yes, I move that council dissolve into a committee of the whole for the purpose of holding a public hearing on ordinance 22050.
We have a second.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that council dissolve into a committee of the whole for the purpose of holding a public hearing. Clerk, can you please read the affidavit of publication?
Sure. State of Delaware, Newcastle County, personally appeared in News Journal of the News Journal Media Group, a newspaper printed, published, and circulated in the state of Delaware, who being duly sworn, deposed and set that the advertisement of which the annex is a true copy has been published in the said newspaper one time, once in each edition, dated as follow, December 15, 2022, on ordinance number 22050, which is entitled, "An Ordinance to Rezone 14 Parcels of Land Within the Area Generally Bounded by Maryland Avenue, the Amtrak Railroad Quarters, I-95 and Lower M Street, from a zoning classification of M1 Light Manufacturing to a zoning classification of Z2, C2 Secondary Business Centers," notarized by Vicky Felty, Notary Public.
I move the affidavit of the publication be made part of the record.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the affidavit of publication be made a part of the record on the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion carried. Clerk, can you please read the Planning Commission report?
Sure. December 14, 2022, dear Ms. Sejo, City Planning Commission Resolution 9-22 and the related Department of Land Use and Planning report are attached for City Council's consideration. At their December 13, 2022 meeting, the Planning Commission voted to recommend the following measures to City Council.
I move the Planning Commission report be made part of the record.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Planning Commission report be made a part of the record on the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Is there anyone from the planning department here to speak to the report?
Yes, Council President Congo. Good evening.
Yes, thank you.
May I proceed?
Yes, you may. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Gwyneth Kaminsky with the Department of Land Use and Planning. The City of Wilmington received a request from the Rybold Group to rezone 14 parcels of land bounded by Maryland Avenue, Amtrak Railroad Corridor, I-95, and Lower Elm Street from the existing M1 light manufacturing zoning to C2 secondary business centers. This rezoning facilitates a redevelopment proposal involving the renovation of an existing vacant warehouse at 200 Maryland Avenue into a 19-unit apartment building and the construction of a new hotel, 2-story parking garage, and parking on the remainder of the site. It is important to note that the rezoning decision should not be based on the promise of redevelopment, but rather on whether the land uses permitted under the proposed zoning are appropriate and compatible with the surrounding area. The land use that surrounds the proposed rezoning site includes residential and commercial retail uses and the State Division of Forensic Science across Maryland Avenue to the north, DART operations and Delmarva Power facilities to the east, the Wilmington Skateboard Park to the west between the site and I-95, and to the south, the Amtrak corridor separates the site from the adjacent Christina Riverfront, which is developed with a variety of mixed uses. I-95 borders the western edge, physically separating the site from the western end of Maryland Avenue, which supports a variety of retail and service establishments. The rezoning site is currently zoned M1 light manufacturing, which provides for scientific research, light manufacturing, fabrication, and wholesale storage or warehousing activities. No new residential development is permitted. There are currently no active manufacturing uses in this existing M1 zone, and many of the uses permitted under M1 are not considered compatible with adjacent residential and waterfront neighborhoods. The proposed C2 secondary business center zoning category provides shopping and business needs for large segments of the city outside of the central business area, including secondary employment centers, and also allows for residential development. While other zoning classifications were considered for the site, C2 zoning was ultimately recommended by the zoning manager, given that it permits hotels and apartments. Also, the land uses permitted under C2 are more appropriate in this area of the downtown and are supported by the available infrastructure. Other examples of C2 zoning in the area include Del Tech Community College and Adams Ford Shopping Center. No negative impacts will result from the proposed rezoning action. The vacant warehouse is proposed for conversion into apartments, which are permitted under the proposed C2 zoning, and all other parcels are vacant land. All new future development will be required to conform to the C2 regulations once the rezoning is complete. The 14 parcels being rezoned are part of a much larger M1 zoning district, and it is the intent of our department to rezone these remaining parcels within this larger district at a future date in order to bring the entire area under the C2 zoning regulations and to promote commercial mixed uses along the I-95, Maryland Avenue, and MLK Boulevard corridors. This rezoning proposal is consistent with the comprehensive plan's future land use map for the Browntown-Hedgeville area, which provides for mixed commercial light manufacturing land use. This category is consistent with the proposed zoning. This past December, the Planning Commission held a public hearing on the rezoning request and approved their resolution 922 supporting the request for rezoning. In summary, Maryland Avenue is an important gateway into the city, and the M1 zoning is not appropriate along the corridor. There are no existing manufacturing facilities, nor is light manufacturing consistent with the development taking place along the Christina waterfront to the south. The proposed C2 zoning will support the productive reuse of the vacant site, allowing for the redevelopment of the site into apartments, a hotel, and two-story parking garage. These uses are compatible with the surrounding neighborhoods and downtown business district. The City Planning Commission and Department of Land Use and Planning are recommending that City Council approve Ordinance 22-050 for the rezoning of 14 parcels of land along Maryland Avenue. And this concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions from council members? And seeing none, does anyone from the public care to speak for this legislation, either in council chambers or virtually? Does anyone want to speak against? And seeing none, Councilmember McCoy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to state that this area that is looking to be rezoned is actually borders my district. That's probably the reason why Councilwoman Harley actually asked me to do this. When it comes to the residences in that area, that they are actually a few blocks away from where this place would be, so there are no direct residents within where this any type of construction will actually happen. All of the residents that will be near here are actually within the 6th district. I've already had a relationship with the group that it's actually trying to do the zoning, and we've had really good conversations about some of the other projects that they've been working on. And so I do believe that this is something that could help the corridor of Maryland Avenue, and I just wanted to make certain that my colleagues were aware.
Thank you. Did you want to move to,
Oh, yeah.
for us to return to regular business?
Yes. So I move council to return to the regular order of business.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that council return to the regular order of business. Clerk, please read the committee report.
January 12, 2023, present members of council, City of Wilmington, ladies and gentlemen, we, your Community Development and Urban Planning Committee, met by anchor location remote participation. To was referred ordinance number 22050 entitled, an ordinance to rezone 14 parcels of land within the area generally bounded by Maryland Avenue, the Amtrak Railroad Corridor, I-95 and Lower Elm Street from a zoning classification of M1 light manufacturing to a zoning classification of C2 secondary business centers. Have given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members present, Councilwoman Cabrera, Councilman Field, Councilwoman McCoy, Councilwoman Fields, Councilman Spadola, Councilwoman Darby, and President Congo.
Mr. President, I move the committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that the committee report be received, recorded, and filed. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Clerk, are there any findings?
Yes, Mr. President. To the Honorable Ernest Trippy Congo, the second President of City Council, and the Honorable Members of City Council from Elizabeth D. Power, Senior Assistant City Solicitor, dated January 18, 2023, regarding City Council's findings supporting the enactment of ordinance number 22050 to rezone 14 parcels of land within the area generally bounded by Maryland Avenue, the Amtrak Railroad Corridor, I-95, and Lower M Street from a zoning classification of M1 light manufacturing to a zoning classification of C2 secondary business centers. Enclosed, please find a copy of the findings prepared in connection with City Council's scheduled public hearing on January 19, 2023, regarding the above referenced zoning ordinance. The findings supplement the record of the City Planning Commission and its report, as well as the record of the Council's public hearing. And the Law Department advises their inclusion in the record as a means of complying with Delaware court decisions that involve zoning ordinances of county governments, but the principle of which apply to Wilmington as well.
I move the findings be made part of the record.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the findings be made a part of the record. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay. Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present and call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance 22050, Agenda 0257, an ordinance to rezone 14 parcels of land within the area generally bounded by Maryland Avenue, the Amtrak Railroad Corridor, I-95, and Lower Elm Street from a zoning classification of 1 light manufacturing to a zoning classification of C2 secondary business centers.
Mr. President, I move that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and call for the yea or nay vote.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and called for a yea-nay vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And council members, as we go,
On the question, sir.
council members, as you vote, we do have to state your reason for voting. One of the reasons can be just as a result, as support for the community, or as a result of the findings. Clerk, please call for the roll.
Thank you. Councilwoman Oliver.
Yes, based on the findings.
Councilwoman Fields.
Yes, based on the findings.
Councilwoman McCoy.
Yes, based on the findings.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes, based on the findings.
Councilman Field.
Yes, based on the findings.
Councilwoman Cabrera.
Yes, based on the findings and in support of the community.
Councilman Mills.
Yes, based on the findings.
Councilman Spadola.
Yes, based on the findings.
Councilwoman Bracy.
Yes, based on the findings.
President Congo.
Yes, based on the findings.
10 yeas and 2 absent.
Declared adopted. Councilmember McCoy, you may continue.
Have more?
No.
Okay, no, that'll be all.
That's
Mr.
all?
President.
Okay. Councilmember Johnson?
Yes, Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present and call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance 23001, Agenda 0262, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of the City General Obligation Bond, Prices Run Interceptor Rehabilitation Project, Series of 2023 WPCRF, in order to provide the funds necessary for the City of Wilmington's Prices Run Interceptor Rehabilitation Project, providing for the sale of the 2023 bond to the Delaware Water Pollution Control Revolving Fund, and authorizing other necessary action.
Mr. President, I move that be known as the enacting clause in the ordinance and call for a yea-nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that it be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and called for a yea or nay vote on the question.
Mr. President, this ordinance is being presented for the general sewer work that is capital work that's being done on Prices Run. Been a much needed project in Councilwoman Oliver's district. I know she's supportive of this initiative as well and has been working on this for a long time. So we're glad to see these funds finally allocated.
And seeing no other hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilwoman Oliver.
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields. Councilwoman Fields. Councilwoman McCoy.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Field. Yes. Councilwoman Cabrera.
Yes.
Councilman Mills.
Yes.
Councilman Spadola.
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy.
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes.
9 yeas and 3 absent.
Declared adopted.
This is Councilwoman Fields.
You may continue, Councilman
Is it
Johnson.
too late?
Yes.
You may continue.
Okay. All right. Mr. President, I have another ordinance to present and call for third and final reading.
Ordinance 23002, Agenda 0263, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of the City General Obligation Bond 11th Street Pump Station Phase 2 Project, Series of 2023 WPCRF, in order to provide the funds necessary for the replacement of and certain upgrades to the 11th Street Pump Station, providing for the sale of the 2023 bond to the Delaware Water Pollution Control Revolving Fund, and authorizing other necessary action.
Mr. President, I move that be known as the enacting clause in the ordinance and call for a yea-nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and called for a yea or nay vote on the question.
This bond ordinance is being, this is for a capital improvement work to the 11th Street Pump Station. Again, I believe this is a long overdue project that is definitely needed in that area on the east side.
Thank you. Seeing no other hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilwoman Oliver.
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields.
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Field.
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Mills,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes.
10 yeas and 2 absent.
Declared adopted.
Mr. President, I have another ordinance to present and call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance 23003, Agenda 0264, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of the City General Obligation Bond Digester Rehabilitation Phase 2 Project, Series of 2023, WPCRF, in order to provide the funds necessary for the City of Wilmington's rehabilitation of digesters number 5 at the Wilmington Wastewater Treatment Plant, providing for the sale of the 2023 bond to the Delaware Water Pollution Control Revolving Fund, and authorizing other necessary action.
But, Mr. President, I move that be known as the enacting clause on ordinance and call for a yea nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and called for a yea or nay vote on the question.
This is a companion piece. This is specifically for the wastewater treatment plant project improvements.
Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Field. Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Mills,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes.
10 yeas and 2 absent.
Declared adopted.
Mr. President, I have another ordinance to present and call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance 23004, Agenda 0265, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of the City Journal Obligation Bond Aeration Process Phases 1 and 2 Project, Series of 2023 WPCRF, in order to provide the funds necessary for the City of Wilmington's aeration process upgrades, Phases 1 and 2, at the Wilmington Wastewater Treatment Plant, providing for the sale of the 2023 bond to the Delaware Water Pollution Control Revolving Fund, and authorizing other necessary action.
Mr. President, I move that be known as the enacting clause of ordinance and call for a yea nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and called for a yea or nay vote on the question.
This is a companion piece to the other wastewater treatment plant upgrade. This is for the aeration process piece of it, and we're definitely looking forward to this enhancement to make sure we have our keep our clean water.
Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields, Councilwoman Fields, Councilman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field, Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Mills,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes.
9
I
yeas
have my hand
and
raised.
3.
Yes.
Thank you, Councilmember Fields.
Thank
Just a
you.
moment, Mr. President. So noted for her vote?
Yes.
Okay. 10 yeas and 2 absent.
Declared adopted.
Mr. President, I have another ordinance to present and call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance 23005, Agenda 0266, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of the city's general obligation bond, dewatering process rehabilitation project, series of 2023 WPCRF, in order to provide the funds necessary for the city of Wilmington's dewatering process rehabilitation project at the Wilmington Wastewater Treatment Plant, providing for the sale of the 2023 bond to the Delaware Water Pollution Control Revolving Fund, and authorizing other necessary action.
Mr. President, I move that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and call for a yea nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and called for a yea or nay vote on the question.
Mr. President, this is again, and this is another companion piece. This is for the wastewater treatment plant. It's for the dewatering process.
Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field, Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Mills,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy,
Yes.
and President Congo.
Yes.
10 yeas and 2 absent.
Declared adopted.
And that concludes my items, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, as a final reminder, pursuant to council rules for legislative matters, the sponsor is entitled to speak first and last. And during debate, each council member may speak twice for up to 5 minutes each time. Councilmember Cabrera?
Yes, Mr. President, I have a resolution to present.
Resolution 23007, Agenda 0271, whereas the City of Wilmington is an entitlement community for the Home Investment Partnership Program, and whereas on May 20 of 2021, City Council adopted Resolution 21030, which approved the city's proposed annual action plan for federal fiscal year 2021, city fiscal year 2022, and authorized the mayor to submit the plan to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. And whereas HUD has advised the city that it is eligible to receive supplemental funding through the American Rescue Plan Act with respect to the plan in the amount of $2,100,727 to be distributed by the city pursuant to the home program to benefit qualifying individuals and families who are homeless, at risk of homelessness, or are in other vulnerable populations.
I move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed, and adopted by a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that this resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by a yea or nay vote on the question.
Yes, Mr. President, as read by our city clerk, I wanted to make sure that that part was heard by everyone. We're basically making a substantial amendment to our federal fiscal year 2021 and 2022 annual action plan that outlines the proposed use of these additional home funds that we are entitled to. This money will be used to combat homelessness, people that are at risk, and in addition, this will be used to develop affordable rental units as part of the home ARP allocation plan.
Seeing no hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilwoman Oliver?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Field? Yes. Councilwoman Cabrera?
Yes.
Councilman Mills?
Yes.
Councilman Spadola?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy?
Yes.
President Congo?
Yes.
10 yeas and 2 absent.
Declared adopted. Councilmember Mills.
Yes, Mr. President, I have a resolution to present.
Yes. Resolution 23008, Agenda 0272, whereas the Wilmington City Council's 2022 through 2025 strategic plan goal of fostering a Wilmington for all ages prioritizes advocacy and support for Wilmington's youth in the educational process. And whereas subsection 401, Title 14 of the State Code establishes the school district's enrollment choice program as a means to maximize parental choice in obtaining access to educational opportunities for their children to attend public schools in any reorganized school district, vocational technical school district, or charter schools if they reside in the state.
I move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed, and adopted by a yea or nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that the resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by a yea or nay vote on the question.
Yes, Mr. President. This resolution urges the Brandywine, Christina, and Red Clay Consolidated School Districts to give full consideration into including geographical characteristics into the educational lottery formulas for the high-demand schools. And it's coming directly from the community came to the Education, Youth, and Family Committee. Just over the years, I'm sure myself and a lot of other council people have heard the frustration and it disheartened, not just from the parents, but also from the students as well, deserving students, where they aren't able to get into these high-performing schools, such as Cab Calloway School of Arts, Conrad School of Science, North Star Elementary School, Wilmington Charter Schools, which are all among the top-performing schools in our state. However, students from disadvantaged backgrounds are pervasive in 19802, 19805, and 19801, 19802, 195 zip codes are less likely to gain acceptance with the current lottery process.
Thank you. Councilmember Oliver.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor, and this is a real good piece of legislation. I was just in a meeting, and they were also discussing this, so this is a hot topic. Good work. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Cabrera.
I too would like to be added as a sponsor, and I'm in full agreement. I remember when trying to get my son into Cap Calloway, how that was, I mean, you had to go through a process, which I understand, but even the process wasn't clear. We chose dance, and it was a bunch of ballerinas, and he was the only boy. that audition. So, I mean, it doesn't even make any sense. So I hope that we can find a fair guidelines on making sure that these schools, which are high-performing schools, and our children would benefit from it. I, for one, support 100% that through the arts, children can learn better, and they can also deal with a lot of the trauma that they face in our city on a regular basis. It's a release. So we really should have more accessibility, and we certainly should support more of the arts within our public schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no other hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilwoman Oliver?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Field? Councilwoman Cabrera?
Yes.
Councilman Mills?
Yes.
Councilman Spadola?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy?
Yes.
President Congo?
Yes.
10 yeas and 2 absent.
Declared adopted. Councilmember Spadola.
Yes, Council President, I have 2 pieces of legislation tonight.
Ordinance 23007, Agenda 0273, an ordinance to amend Chapter 2 of the City Code to prohibit City Council from hiring close relatives of currently sitting City Council members.
First reading of the ordinance.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 2 of the City Code to prohibit City Council from hiring close relatives of currently sitting City Council members.
Second reading of the ordinance.
Mr. President, I move that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and refer it to the Finance and Economic Development Committee.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and referred to the Finance and Economic Development Committee.
Thank you, Council President. I have another ordinance to present and call for the first and second reading.
Ordinance 23008, Agenda 0274, an ordinance to amend Chapter 2 of the City Code to prohibit close relatives of elected officials and department heads and private enterprises in which the close relative owns a 5% legal or equitable ownership interest in from contracting with the city.
First reading of the ordinance.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 2 of the City Code to prohibit close relatives of elected officials and department heads and private enterprises in which the close relative owns a 5% legal or equitable ownership interest in from contracting with the city.
Second reading of the ordinance.
Mr. President, I move that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and refer to the Finance and Economic Development Committee.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and referred to the Finance and Economic Development Committee. This time we will move to petitions and communications. Councilmember Oliver.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to first thank the individuals who did participate in the Guns Down press conference that was requested from the residents over in the Northeast area. Next, I would like to thank all my sorority sisters for coming out for MLK Day and filling up refrigerators in Southbridge, Kingswood, and the warehouse. We took all day. Well, there was a lot of them that went to the store, purchased the food, and it was really good because all the refrigerators were empty. So it was just a nice day that day, and I want to say I'd like to congratulate all the people who did work on MLK Day. It seemed to be a real nice turnout everywhere in the city. And that would be all, may I be excused?
Yes, you may. Thank
And
you.
I wanted to say I'm glad you're feeling better. I know you was under the weather.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Councilmember Fields.
Yes, thank you, Council President. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to all of those stakeholders and community members and organizations that came out last night to the Public Works Committee meeting that we seen in person that actually showed their commitment to the Rodney Reservoir, and that there was no question about who was committed and who was there, and we didn't have to guess about the committee people. The community people, they were there and they showed up. So I just really want to say thank you to the Cool Spring area, to the ones that live in there on Clayton Street, and to everybody else that showed up and that showed them some support as far as the Rodney Reservoir. And I'd like to thank Council Member Oliver for hosting such a great meeting. I'd like to say thank you to that as well. Also, I just like to say, I just have a quote. I won't be long today. Life, life is a camera. Focus on what's important, capture the good times, develop from the negatives, and if things don't work out, take another shot. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember McCoy.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I just wanted to say thank you for all those who participated in the MLK cleanup / Peace March / community celebration. This was the 11th year that the event has taken place, and it's normally held on 4th Street, but this is the first time that it was held within the 6th district, the community celebration portion, and because it was held in my district because we also celebrated the ribbon cutting for the MSK Community Center. So I just want to say congratulations to My Sister's Keepers for all of their work to getting the place repaired and prepped for the community celebration. I thank all those different people that they partnered with because it was a great success. Also, just wanted to make certain that people were aware because we did have someone come up and make a comment about lighting. Looks like DelDOT will be doing a presentation for the Public Works in February. It'll be February 15th. I've already spoken to Councilman Oliver about it. And the things that they propose or what they want to present is some of the things that we've actually asked for that come after the whole thing with the corridor. And it was the things that I was told were lighting, a pickleball court, and then also the dog park, which is something that's going to happen within the 6th district, hopefully. So I've already did a polling on social media and also door knocking. Right now, I have like 80% that have a set consensus that the people in my area want to do this, and we're ready to move forward. And I just hope that everyone who maybe has either questions or just wanted to get more information, that they will be able to attend that meeting for Public Works on February 15th. And that's all that I have.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Johnson.
Yes, just briefly, there's a deadline coming up real soon in terms of the small business grants. So again, we've been blessed on the west side to have the innovation grants up to $10,000 to support our small business community. Many entrepreneurs have already opened up and have opened up even brick and mortar shops. The deadline is February 15th, so please either contact me for the application or you can go online to westsidegrowth.org /small businesses. And I believe the application can be completed on there, or again, contact me, but please get the applications in as soon as possible, as many businesses have grown from these grants. And then lastly, there's a Union Park Garden Neighborhood Association meeting coming up on January 31st. Parking reforms will be one point of topic, and I'm going to be lucky to be joined. Councilmember Spadola actually will be there as well. It'll be 6 p.m. at that President's. Wilmington Police will be there as well, and it'll be an opportunity to talk about many of the things we're doing, not only citywide, but also on the west side, as we have a lot going on. So please come out and see us. Me and Councilman Spadola, the well-dressed Councilman Spadola.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Field.
Yes, Mr. President, I have 3 petitions. A lot of some residents have come to me expressing concerns about mail delivery, and I understand there are some issues with the frequency of mail being delivered. I'm trying to learn as much as I can about the situation in different buildings. So if anybody is watching this and is having problems with their mail being delivered in a timely manner, I'm trying to gather as much information as possible. So please give me a call and share the situation with your building. My number is 302-530-6626. Second, I want to thank Kevin Malloy, who came to this meeting and raised some awareness about the lighting on the I-95 bridges. One of them is in the 8th District on 10th Street, and I share that concern. And Kevin, if you're watching, I'll be reaching out to you about how we can potentially coordinate with DelDOT to see what we can do about getting lighting there, because I absolutely agree. You want to be able to walk at night on there, and if there's no lights, you might get nervous about that. And number three, I really want to encourage council members, anybody in attendance, or anybody watching to frequent local restaurants. They are, I really encourage you, if you can afford it, to get out there and just go patronize local diners, local restaurants. They are really struggling to make ends meet. Has anybody seen the cost of eggs lately? Basic food is going up, and many of them are really just struggling to get by. And when we say we like these local restaurants, we like these local establishments, if we want to keep them here, let's get more customers there. So they're all over the city, and I encourage you, if you can, once a month, once every 2 months or more, once a week, to go to your local diner, local restaurant for a meal or a cup of coffee, because they are the establishments that make our city such a charming place, and the more customers, the better. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Carrera.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, first, I want to wish everyone a Happy New Year since I wasn't here for the first meeting of the year. I am sharing some information that was made available by Mr. Kobe Owens, and that is that the Wilmington Police Department is doing a Learn to Ride program. So if you have any children or anyone that would like to learn how to ride a bike, they're going to have limited spaces in the classes, and they're going to do multiple classes. But each month, Wilmington Police is going to offer to help teach children how to safely ride a bike. This program is going to be hosted at the Police Athletic League of Wilmington at 3707 North Market Street in the gymnasium. If you're interested in registering for one of these sessions, please visit wilmingtonde.gov police and click on the Learn to Ride program to view and complete the registration form. Space is limited and registration is required for each session. Those with questions can contact Sergeant Michael Coleman at michael.coleman@cj.state.deus. And since I know that's going to be hard for people to grasp, there's also a phone number where they can call the PAL Center directly at 302-764-6170. And I just wanted to also reiterate how pleased, not only am I personally, but the well-received reception of the community with the appointment of Chief Wilfredo Campos, who was born and raised in Wilmington on the west side and has positive relationships across our city. I think this is a great addition to our Wilmington police force. He is well respected by the men and women of Wilmington PD as well as the community. And I'm looking forward to positive relationships and for us to grow those relationships in our community so we can, go back to that trust, building that trust, which is so important considering what's been going on in our nation. And congratulations to those who were out on Monday to celebrate a day of service and the excellent work done by my colleagues and the community. I myself was sick, was not able to attend, but I did see and read all the activities, and I want to congratulate my Sisters Keepers for everything they've been doing, plugging away, and just to have that brick and mortar building. I know they will make a difference in one of our communities where there was a deficit for programming for our neighborhood, for our children. So I wish them much success, and they can count on my continuous support. That's all this evening, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember Mills.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to publicly say thank you to the seniors who came out on the day of service at Terry Apartments and cleaned up in and around. The Terry Apartments did an excellent job. It got kind of cold out there, and they were still out there raking leaves and everything. So I just want to just say thank you to them and continue it up, and let's continue to make our city a better city. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Spadola.
Thank you, Council President. Next Thursday, January 26th, Shiloh Baptist Church is having a health fair from 9 to 11, 215 West 23rd Street. UD Community Engagement Partners for How the Community is going to be there. YMCA Diabetes Prevention. They're going to be doing some health screenings, dental screenings, giving away some clothing and costume jewelry, coffee and donuts. So stop by if you can. And that's all I have tonight, Council President.
All right, thank you. Earlier this month, we introduced Wilmington City Council's 2023 Fitness Challenge. And this is just a 12-week kickoff to the new year that is going to end on April the 9th. And the goal is to motivate everyone on council floor, council staff, council members, City of Wilmington, council, city departments, the mayor, police department, or new chief, everyone, just to lead healthier lives. So in the next 2 weeks, until council meets again for our next regular meeting, we're going to be sharing fitness tips and healthy meal recipes that we personally use in our weekly routine. You can also participate in council's fitness challenge by following and mentioning @Wilm City Council on social media. And please be sure to hashtag Wilmington Fit in your post for a chance to be highlighted from our accounts. I'm looking forward to seeing the different ways we can all work together to make 2023 our healthiest year yet. And my personal goal is to lose 25 pounds by April the 9th. And if we need to get a scale out here, Akira and I are going to make that happen. So again, we're just encouraging people to exercise a little more, drink more water, eat a little healthier, meditate, do yoga, stretch, just try to live healthier lives for 2023. Also want to say happy birthday to Bishop Aretha Morton. Today is her birthday. She turned 85. And for those of you who may not know, she is the one who wrote our prayer that Akira gives every council meeting. So happy birthday, Bishop Morton. Also want to thank everyone who joined us today, virtually and in council chambers. Again, please join us whenever you can, every first and third Thursday for our council meetings. We also have committee meetings throughout the month that begin at 5. For more information or to contact any of us on City Council, please call our office at 302-576-2140. Thank you so much again for joining us. Sorry, Councilmember Bracy.
It's okay.
It was Akira's fault. She doesn't have your name on here.
I'm new, I get it.
Councilmember Bracy.
I'll be very quick. I just have 2 things to say. One is that Downtown Visions is doing their Dine Downtown deals again. Essentially, you support downtown Wilmington restaurants and get rewarded for submitting 5 receipts from your dine-in or takeout orders from January 1st through March 31st, and you can receive a gift card in the amount of 20% of the total meals purchased. Again, great way to get out, support local, and to help our downtown restaurants. If you're not downtown, support any of our local restaurants. Just get out and support. The last thing I wanted to say is that MLK Day was Monday. And many people throughout our city participated in cleanup days, volunteer projects, and other service projects. But I encourage everyone that is listening or will see this replay not to just wait for a day of service, not to wait for a special event, but to make service a part of your lifestyle. There are plenty of ways for you to get involved, from mentoring to volunteering to donating to nonprofits. So let's not wait for the next holiday or a special event to get involved in our community. Thanks.
All right, thank you. With that, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, everyone.